Hey, Fabius, there's some new armor you might like.
Oh, really? What is it? Never mind.
What?
This is a workplace cotton.
And this is a Speedo, Fabius.
Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages,
The Flamefete Festival is underway, and along with it, we have a bunch of brand new bits of equipment to enjoy, either for the visual purposes of updating our fashion sets, and there is some absolutely sublime fashion additions within this festival, or maybe even for the purpose of using as actual armor in proper builds. So today we're going to be going through the 3 new armor sets and 2 new headgears that were added in with the Flamefete Festival. We will talk about any skills or set bonuses that need extra explaining, and then I will also try to attribute some general value to the armor pieces. For example, if something just won't see any use in offensive builds, I will tell you that, or if it has a chance of being competitive in a slot, I will tell you when and why that might be. Starting off first then with the headliner armor set of the Flamefete Festival, the Afi Set. The general purpose offensive selling point of this armor is the fact that it has 5 burst on it, which is a generally solid skill, but one that is also considered to not be that top tier as far as one to actually focus on. The first rank of burst is really good for pretty much every weapon, but the value declines for every rank that you add on past that pretty significantly for most weapons and most playstyles. It does have further use if you are playing element focused builds, as burst is pretty good for element, but again, even then there are sort of just better skills to build around in that situation. It has 3 fire resistance on the armor as well, and 3 blast resistance, which is pretty thematic for what the armor is, but it also makes it a lot more niche for actual wearability within proper builds. It has 3 bombardier, which increases explosive damage with items, so basically just barrel bomb damage, which is sort of fitting, and this incentivizes playing around with the new beach barrel bombs that are full-on proper spheres instead of normal barrel shapes, and then 1 rank of heroics at the end, just because why not, I suppose. For the most part, the individual armor pieces on this one aren't really worth talking about in too much detail. You might use some of them if you're trying to accomplish something very specific with your build, rather than making like a proper meta build instead, but the gloves specifically are at least worth mentioning. These have 2 ranks of burst and a 1-slot socket. The best competition for these gloves is the Guardian Ebony Odogaron gloves, which are 2 burst and 1 divine protection with no sockets, so exact same value as that, but with slightly more choice. And of course, the opportunity cost of not getting the Ebony Odogaron set bonus from the piece anymore. If you are going off of raw skill space comparisons though, this piece is also pretty handily destroyed by the Uth Gamma gloves, which have 2 3-slot sockets and 2 evade extender. You could easily argue the 2 evade extender is worth more than a 1-slot socket, and that the other 2 3-slots are way better than being forced into 2 bursts specifically as your forced skills. And you could still run 2 bursts within those slots if you want to, or you could run any other combination of 2 3-slot skills. Then the final step for this set then, let's discuss the set bonus and group bonus. The group bonus is honestly relatively simple: Festival Spirit, Carving Master. This is a shared group bonus with the previous festival sets as well as the diver set within this festival too, so you can mix and match the pieces if what you're specifically after is the group bonus, which is just 1 guaranteed bonus carve on monsters during quests. For those wondering, this does stack with the Carver Pro meal skill that gives you extra carves as well, so if you are after something from carving, these 2 effects combined is actually quite effective. As for the set bonus, that's where this gets quite a bit more fun. If you knew how the Saccharitide armor set bonus worked in the previous festival, this one is actually pretty much identical, except that it changes some of the items within the pool. To explain it more properly then, the 2 set bonus makes it so at the end of any quest in the game, including low rank quests, including quests to hunt low rank small monsters even, which are quests that you can easily do in like a minute, you get bonus rewards. These are extra boxes. They aren't replacement for normal rewards you would have gotten otherwise, and in these extra boxes you'll randomly get either beach barrel bombs, the Flamefete voucher, which is what you use to get the festival fee specifically, the Flamefete ticket, which is what you use to make the Afi armor set itself, as well as the matching palico set, and this is actually the fastest way to make the armor. Collect daily bonus for the first ticket, do a limited bounty for the second ticket, equip 2 set to activate the effect, then do more limited bounties, and you should have enough tickets for the full set very, very quickly. This can also give you barrel bowling vouchers for the actual barrel bowling activity in the hub, and the generalized pick a meal voucher that lets you choose which feast you want in the hub. For the 2 set version of this bonus, you generally get 1 extra reward for this type, though sometimes it can proc 2 instead. With the 4 set bonus from this armor, you will generally get 2 slots of bonus rewards on average. You might get 1 if you're unlucky, but sometimes you'll get 3, which is quite nice when it happens. The best use of this set bonus effect is the pick a meal vouchers that they can have drop at the end of quests. For reference, I farmed a bunch of these pick a meal vouchers while in the festival armor during Saccharitide last time around, and I only just now ran out of meal vouchers like a couple of days ago, so you can really get yourself a solid stockpile by taking advantage of this. Then we have the other part of the set bonus, only at 4 set equipped, which is greatly boosts attack and defense. This part is relatively simple. During the Flamefete Festival period only, so only for the next couple of weeks, this gives you 9% increased weapon attack, so your attack stat before any other buffs or skills are applied on top, and then an extra 50 defense as well. The best versions of this setup that I've put together with the 4 set bonus and an extra piece of armor are hitting around 7.5% lower effective raw than a proper meta damage set. For reference, I was doing this with Seregios weapons. They end up at higher effective raw due to the low affinity potential of the set, only being able to fit the maximum might really at most, but then the Legiacris helmet and the other 4 pieces being the Afi Armor set. 7.5% is absolutely a reasonable margin. So basically the end result is that this armor is good enough offensively during the festival period that it's worth using if you want the bonus rewards from the other parts of the set and the group bonus. If you don't care about any of that stuff and all you want is to make sure you lower the hunt timer and make it as short as possible, this armor set's not really going to be helpful for you. And to reiterate it, this will become pretty much obsolete once the festival is over, as the set bonus will deactivate entirely until next year when the festival returns. And without the festival bonus being active, this is a massive damage loss on the set, and you won't have the extra ticket rewards anymore anyways, so it just won't be worth using at all. As a secondary important note, with this being a fully attack power focused set instead of having any affinity on it, you could technically tailor it to being a bit better for something like a shelling focused gunlance or something like elemental hunting horn. Both of those playstyles have tons of important attacks that do not have the ability to have critical hits in the first place, and so it would be slightly less of a loss for them compared to the meta set options for those playstyles. You may be a bit concerned that we have so much armor to go through still after how long we spent on that one set, but I promise that was by far the most invested discussion we'll be having today, given just how specific the set bonus is and how it warps the perspective value of the armor as a whole. Next up then, let's talk about the Uth Duna Gamma Armor Set. It has some real highs and lows, honestly. Visually it's just awesome, of course, but that's not what we're here to discuss today. The skills themselves on the armor set are 5 peak performance, 5 tool specialist, 3 earplugs, 3 quick sheath, and 2 agitator. Across the full set, there are 3 3-slot sockets, 3 2-slot sockets, and 2 1-slot sockets. This means it actually has a fair amount more sockets than Raydao Gamma Armor Set, but at the cost of the inherent skills on the armor being generally less desirable. The helmet is interesting, but only if you want to focus specifically on building peak performance into your build, because 2 peak performance, 2 2-slots, and 1 earplugs is quite high value if you want the peak performance, but I generally, at least personally, value peak performance quite low among offensive skills. The chest piece is a 3 peak performance and 2 earplugs, no sockets on it, and this one I honestly think won't see too much use at all. It's locked into the skills that it has, which aren't fantastic. I mean, 2 ranks of earplugs is solid in wilds. It will block you from the majority of roar flinches, but generally you would rather choose to apply those 2 earplugs through sockets if you want them, rather than use the rest of your entire armor piece just to make it worth having. The gloves are 3 tool specialist, 1 agitator, and a 2-slot socket, which actually isn't bad. Agitator is a great skill, tool specialist isn't like insanely good, but it does have use, especially in longer hunts, and then the spare 2-slot socket can have some value as well. This armor piece isn't incredible, but it isn't properly bad either. Then we have the waist for the set, which is pretty solid, 2 3-slot sockets and 2 tool specialist. The tool specialist is a bit take it or leave it for most people. They don't really care either way, but 2 3-slot sockets on the waist can be quite a lot of room to play around with when putting a set together. I'd say for the most part, this could see use for weapons that maybe don't benefit a massive amount from maximum might, like something like hammer, as the main competitive wastes have maximum might on them as a force skill. Then we come to the legs, the only piece that I am certain will find a home with at least 1 weapon, 3-slot socket, 2 1-slot sockets, and then 3 quick sheath and 1 agitator. Again, agitator is a great skill in its own right. 3 quick sheath is a niche utility skill, but is genuinely good for a weapon like the longsword specifically. Then the 3-slot socket gives you more potential offensive power depending on what you want to lean into, and the 1-slots are just great for bonus utility. Overall, a very effective piece of armor if you want quick sheath, and otherwise probably not all that worth using. So as far as the individual pieces, this one isn't overly remarkable, but then we've got the set bonus and the group bonus as well. The set bonus works exactly the same as normal Uth Duna, which is after you put on a mantle, you will get a buff that lasts for exactly 3 minutes. This buff with the 2 set bonus is plus 25 to your defense stat, and with the 4 set bonus it is plus 50 to your defense stat and another plus 12 to all element resistances. This is honestly quite solid defensively, but of course doesn't have any impact offensively. This This also synergizes with the tool specialist ranks that are on the armor to increase the uptime of the set bonus by making you able to have mantles up more often. Then you can also use it with the mending mantle specifically to help you keep peak performance uptime higher as well. That is the natural synergy of the Uth Duna set. That's how it's intended to be used for the most part. And a fun note here is that previously this set bonus wasn't honestly that great even for defensive focused builds, because the Uth Duna set, the actual armor, was lower defense than the highest rarity armor. But now that Uth Duna Gamma is in the game, this is max rarity armor, can hit the highest defense any armor can, which means it can have the highest possible defense stat and have the set bonus on top too. So this is actually good for defense setups. Then for the group bonus, we have Lord Soul, which is just incredibly powerful. It is exactly identical to the Ray Dow Gamma group bonus, which does, yes, mean that you can mix 3 pieces between the 2 sets and still get this group bonus active. To explain it in a bit more detail, this prevents you from carding 1 time if you get hit by lethal damage well above the threshold that you can see on your health bar. Before this interaction happens, you have 5% increased weapon attack stat, so it is a solid damage increase, but you will also have 5% decreased defense stat, so it's risk and reward. After you trigger the cart protection, if that were to happen, you then get 5% increased defense stat and +3 to all elemental resistances while losing the attack buff until you die. So if you are a skilled enough hunter to keep that first stage bonus active permanently, it's just 5% increased damage, which is why the arch-tempered armor sets are generally valued incredibly highly. That said, this is the one where I won't be making too many direct comparisons to other armor, as the set it mostly competes with is Arch-Tempered Ray Dow, and that is a proper meta armor set used in a lot of meta builds. So I have a bunch more math that I want to do because I want to talk about this armor set in the context of every weapon individually, how much it matters, rather than just an overall generalized approach like I'm doing in this video for the most part. And now moving forward, this will be speeding up significantly. Next up, let's talk about the Diver set. Again, beautiful armor set for fashion, and as a whole, the armor comes with 3 Marathon Runner, 3 Hunger Resistance, 3 Ambush, 2 Aquatic Oil Slit Mobility, and also 1 Leap of Faith, which is a skill that is quite rare, so this does actually give us another armor piece that actually has it. The helmet is 2 Ambush and a 2 slot, so you could basically make this just all 3 ranks of Ambush if you really want that, but there are just far better helmets you can use for pure offensive value. Legiacris helmet, Zoshia helmet, just to list off a couple of more obvious ones. The chest piece is 2 Hunger Resistance, Leap of Faith, and 2 1-slot sockets. If you really love Leap of Faith as a skill for whatever reason, this is now another armor piece that offers you the skill. Otherwise, there's nothing really worth talking about for this one. The gloves are 2 Marathon Runner, 1 Ambush, 1 2-slot, and overall this is just very little value on an armor piece, at least if you're comparing it to the proper endgame armor sets. The belt is 1 Hunger Resistance, 1 Aquatic Oil Slit Mobility, and 3 1-slots. And again, if you care about efficient offensive sets, the belt is pretty meaningless to you. Same with the legs, 1 Marathon Runner, 1 Aquatic Oil Slit Mobility, and a 2-slot socket and a 1-slot socket. It's just not enough to be of proper offensive value. As for the group bonus on the set, it has Carving Master again, just like the other festival sets. This is identical to the other festival armors, and it lets you mix them if you wanted to. Then we just have the 2 pairs of glasses as well. The half-rim glasses are 5 wide range and a 1-slot socket. This isn't terrible, just from the perspective of it's a single armor piece that you can slot in when you want wide range, and you can then take it off otherwise very easily. There are, of course, more efficient ways to make proper builds and full sets around wide range if you want to, but this is an easy way to do it if nothing else. Then we also have the lovely shades. These are 3 Mushroomancer and a 1-slot socket. This is a great source of Mushroomancer as a skill, honestly, if that is something that you really want, but there are just so many good offensive helmets in the game, especially from the endgame monsters now, that it's really hard to justify an entire armor piece just for Mushroomancer and nothing else. But that is just my opinion. It's entirely up to how you want to play the game. A lot of the talk that we've had today has been about whether these armor pieces compare to like the absolute meta offensive options, but for the most part, no player needs to stick to that by any means. So don't feel completely constricted by the existence of the meta, but it is nice to be aware of what's going on within it. That just about does it for today then, everyone. A full deep dive and some testing done with the 3 new full armor sets and the 2 new helmets that we've gotten with the Flamefete Festival in Hunter Wilds. I hope you've enjoyed this, and hopefully it helps you know whether or not you want these armor pieces past just the pure fashion of their layered armor. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. is, goodbye.